What's up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist here with
Gush1,
and we're back at it again, answering your questions in another installment of For the Greater And this time, our featured question comes from
Oplith GR. Now, he put question in front of his question, which is what you should do if you want your questions answered for next week. This is a video series where we answer 40K lore questions, pretty much all 40K questions that our subscribers leave in the comment section down below. So if you want to participate, all you have to do is comment down below with question followed by the question. And Oplith GR asks, why the craft world Eldar don't move the craft worlds into the Webway and live within the Webway like the Dark Eldar or the Black Library? They would be more secure than by living in normal space. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So the reason that the craft world Eldar don't do that is, well, number one, the craft worlds were actually created before the fall, right? There's a bunch of people that were trying to push themselves away from the hedonism that was happening within the Eldar culture, and they thought their core message was that they can move forward without these hedonistic ideologies. So in a way, by them going into the Webway, you're not fulfilling their core goal, which was to, live a life without all the hedonistic craziness.
Right, so they're basically trying to splinter away from that which corrupted them.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, living within the Webway has a lot of, bad things that might happen. So the Dark Eldar, they can go ahead and live within the Webway because they've established that as a hub. But in reality, the Webway is still prone to being destroyed by chaos or broken into by chaos. Because you got to remember that Emperor, he tried to create a Webway type of portal thing, and the chaos figured it out and just destroyed it. So while it seems like, yes, it would be a safer bet, in reality, you're kind of just more prone to Slanesh or other chaos gods trying to get at your craft world.
That's right.
But that brings up a good point, because as of February 4th, I think it was announced, the next book in the series of the fall of 40K, I guess the end times. Even though they're not end times. Basically, Baal-Tan will fall. Well, the Baal-Tan craft world people will suffer a huge catastrophic event where thousands of Eldar are going to die again. And in their death, well, this is spoiler alert, so if you don't want to get this information spoiled, don't listen. Skip away. But basically, the Eldar, with the death of all those Eldar, the Eldar god of death, what's its name?
Ynead. Yeah.
Will be born. And that's the model that you guys can check out right now if you go to the GW website. I think they already have it up, right?
Yeah, more likely than not, it's up there.
It's like an Eldar, and he's like flying in the air. He has like
a swirly of like, what is that, like souls or something?
Yeah, like just ether.
Yeah.
And then he has a horn growing out of one thing, and it's supposed to represent like Ynead, or he is, what is it called? Not a conduit. What do Eldar
Avatars.
An avatar. It's an avatar of Ynead. And it's supposed to represent that it's not really a full god yet, but it's getting there. So the future of the Eldar is basically tied with this birth of a new god, who isn't really a god just yet. So he's not as powerful as Cain, the god of war, for the Eldar. That's his name, right?
Right, yeah.
But it's still a huge event, because it's a god is being created.
That's right.
Which kind of gives a little bit of credit for all those people who say that the god Emperor will actually become a god because the human population is believing that he is a god. But that's a whole other thing, because Eldar and human warp or psychic presence is completely different. But yeah, the future of the Eldar lies within not the laughing god, but Ynead.
That's right.
So you need to know who Ynead is.
Now, I already got it spoiled. Well, I don't even know it's spoiled because it's already out. So the rules are out, and I feel like his rule set works perfectly with who he's trying to be. He's the god of the dead, so obviously when things die, a bunch of crazy stuff happens.
Yeah. But I heard that, like in the game, the actual game, you're going to be able to deep strike that character, that avatar, as soon as one of your units has died. So, like, if you get a unit of, what's, like, Fire Warriors, or not Fire Warriors.
No, it's Guardians.
Guardians dies, boom, Ynead comes in.
Yeah.
And from my understanding is he can continue to get resurrected. So, like, they kill off that avatar, another unit dies, boom, he comes back in, which is pretty badass. Because, you know, the Eldar, they were lacking before. They weren't the top tier army,
and now they're like
even better.
Yep.
Fucking assholes.
So and that's a very cool thematic way of like getting this big awesome guy where you need him. So it's like, oh, I got this one unit of like a bunch of weak guys, but I really need, you know, my avatar or my god right there. Let me sacrifice them, and then there's my new guy.
Yeah. We're gonna come out with the 40 facts on Ynead and the avatar, and then the 2 other Eldar that accompany that later on. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's jump on to more questions.
Next question is Matthew Westhoven. What if Vulcan returns with a fleet of ships that he built by his own hands? But really though, how would they induce other loyalist primarchs other than having them waltz up to Terra in a big ship? So basically saying, how do we implement these other primarchs without making it sound, you know, goofy? Yeah. Another G word.
You have to throw a huge threat at the Imperium. In the situation of Guilliman, I really believe that it's going to be tied to this whole fall of Cadia and fall of the Bautan, or the destruction of Bautan. So in reality, that god that we're talking about, Ynead, which is supposed to save the Eldar by destroying Slaanesh, it's the god of death. So Eldar that are around them, that are around this entity, this avatar, that don't like support him, or they're not one of his followers, he's the god of death. He's gonna want to kill you and suck him into you because he's trying to become a god.
Right.
And if you're the god of death, you need more death. He goes into an imperial world. Guess what he's gonna try to do? He's gonna try to kill humans because he's the god of death.
One more time. What is he?
He's the god of death.
So yeah.
So I think that's a huge, like, rallying point. Let's kill this god of death. And I think that's a good way.
So you think you're gonna see some Guilliman versus Ynead fighting going on?
Definitely, yeah. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be something having to do with Abaddon. When Abaddon invaded Cadia, there was a bunch of shenanigans going on. So I feel like even though even though he didn't really win Abaddon, that is, he did get some kind of end game going, or his plan set in motion. And that's going to set a series of events as to which either they come into Ultramar or they come closer to Terra, and that's when Guilliman wakes up.
I really hope, though, that whatever happens when Guilliman returns, I don't want him to become like a huge, like, savior and that's it. Like, I want it to be like a saving point, right? Like, where he saves the Imperium for a little bit. Little does he know, behind this big threat is an even bigger threat. That would be really badass.
So the embodiment of Chaos Gods come in.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd ever do that. Because imagine if you actually say, oh, I got corned in my detachment of, you know.
Yeah.
That's going to be really OP, and it's like, can anything really combat a timeless god of, like, anger that's been just culminating and has been...
Probably not.
Yeah, like that's just too OP, so...
Next question comes from Oka the Grunchy. Speaking of Ferris Menace, when are you guys gonna hit us up with some Iron Hands lore, baby?
We just did.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, Gershwin put out 2 videos? 3?
It was one.
Just one on the Iron Hands?
One on the Iron Hands, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Iron Hands in general don't get enough love, so. This one's by Chaos Poseidon. I just started out my first tabletop army and went with the Tyranids. Bad choice. No, but yeah, Tyranids are pretty good. You just gotta know how to play them.
Painting wise, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome to paint. Playing wise, no.
He goes on to say, I'm thinking of making my own lore about a hive fleet, but I'm struggling. What's a good name for these guys? Do you have some cool hive fleet names? So far, I've only come up with Hive Fleet Chimera. Does it sound good?
Yeah, I feel like I've talked to you before. Because Chimera sounds like... No, it was somebody else, my bad.
No, I actually did respond to you on this one.
Yeah.
So basically what I told you was Chimera is good, but you want to put some kind of lore behind the name into your army. So a Chimera is basically a mix between, was it a goat, a lion, a snake, and is it an eagle too, or is that another one?
No, yeah, I think it has like the talons.
Or, yeah. So basically it's a culmination of like a bunch of animals. So with your Tyranids, you can maybe say they're a culmination of like 2 or 3 different hive or splinter fleets that were cut off from the main fleet, and the only way to survive was to combine their genetic material into one, and it's like 4 hive minds in one.
That's fucking awesome. That's yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, so like you can have them have like maybe 4 main types of adaptations. Like you'd have poison, flyers, something like that.
Yeah.
Make it mend, make it work.
Make it fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
Narrative Hard Counter asks, Warhammer players have been accused of being racist fascists and that they hate women. Does your experience playing with other players and interactions with your audience ring true to this or not?
Not really. At least everybody that I've talked to one-on-one on the Facebook page has been pretty cool, down to earth, likable, nice guys. Yeah, me personally, even by going to like the GW stores, I haven't seen any haters or like trolls or anything like that.
And you got to remember when things like this come up, 40K is not well known at all.
Right.
Like, how many women actually play the game? Very little. How many people, just in general, even know what tabletop mini wargaming is? Not that much. So, whenever people say, like, a certain community hates the Warhammer 40K community, odds are it's our own players making those assumptions about the game. When in reality, nobody gives a fuck about this. Like, we're sitting around playing with miniatures. They don't really care.
Yeah. If anything, they're just trying to make themselves feel good by being a bully. So.
Don't be bullied, kids. Even though the demographic, I think, is not like, it's people our age, basically, like in their 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And we've got too much stuff going on to be bullies.
Yes, next question.
Chaplain Metalhead. Can a Catan kill a Dark God? By Dark God, do you mean Chaos? And if so, no. Chaos Gods are legit gods. Catans are just fragments, literally shards of a god. And even then, back in the day when they were truly godlike beings, they were only capable of like eating stars and like killing a bunch of like thousands of millions, when chaos kills like billions and whatnot. So they're not, I guess if you want to put them, like compare them, I'd say a god, think of like a major leaguer, and then a Catan would be like a minor league, something like that.
Yep.
They're both really good. They're better than, amateurs, but they're in a different league.
Yep. It's a god or a solar parasite, basically.
Yeah.
A space parasite.
And anyway, I think Catans are weak against warp, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CDFS SFDAS. Do you realize how wrong you are? This is pertaining to us saying that why isn't there chainsaw bayonets in Warhammer 40K? Space Marines have chainsaw bayonets in MK3 and MK4 and even MK2. The reason they stopped is because they became too hard to make.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
Basically, yeah.
That's not even a question.
But yeah, you're right. I guess we answered your statement.
There you go.
George Pantoja. Do Space Marines eat bolillo? How about tortas?
They eat chiles rellenos. They eat earthing.
Everything.
They also eat what is it called? Gelatinous amino acid or some shit like that.
And splendiferous pudding pops.
Yes. Confused Tech Priest asks, do you guys keep in touch with other 40K YouTubers? No, not really. We're trying to get a little something going for you guys, basically.
Right.
Stay tuned.
This next one is by Confused Tech Priest. Oh, you just did that one.
Sylvian Moore says, who would win in a fight? A Space Marine of Warhammer 40 or of the 41st Millennium, or a Space Marine of the 30K Millennium? That's a good question, and I believe that the answer would be 30K Space Marine, because the gene seed of Space Marines has slowly been degrading. The quality of the armor, of the weaponry that a Space Marine has been degrading. So I think a Space Marine like of the Great Crusade era against a Space Marine of today's time, I'll give it to the Great Crusade era. They would just be more adept, or they would have the better equipment.
I agree. I feel like the main reason why a 30K Marine would be better is because they had just gone through the Great Crusade. They weren't split off, so they were surrounded by way more of their own brethren, which means more rivalries, more push to do better, and they were being led and trained by primarchs, not chapter masters.
Yep.
So I think that gives them an edge already.
Yep.
This one is by DJ Devil Hulk. Because of the Salamander's chapter belief of Vulcan's 9 relics, do you think that he'll actually come back when all are found? If so, what do you think will happen in the 40K universe? And what will happen to the Salamander chapter in general? And he goes on to say, Vulcan, hashtag, is my Primarch.
So if Vulcan comes back...
Well, first of all, do you think he's going to come back when all 9 relics are found? Or like beforehand if like the Imperium really needs him?
No, I think it's when all 4 relics, or when all the relics are found. Because GW put that plot there.
Right.
Why not use it?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds kind of... It would be really ridiculous. I would be happy that Vulcan's coming back, period, but it would be really ridiculous if they didn't do that.
Yeah.
When he comes back, though, I feel that, again, it's going to have to be a turning point for the Salamanders, where they're about to get destroyed. Oh, no, they're already being destroyed.
Yeah,
so maybe not so much a turning point.
So yeah, I think Vulcan is going to come back. If they have to speed it up, I feel like they'll just say, oh look, we already got all the relics, and then they'll go back and do short stories as to how they found them, if they really need to bring them. But it's GW, so we never know.
Never. Next question comes from the Rootin' Tootin' Vladimir Putin. Why don't you do more Angry Marines, you unholy faggots? Sorry, can't control my rage. We're putting out a lot of Angry Marine lore.
We're what, 3, 4?
I think we're at 4. Because if you count the Pretty Marines video.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. It's a very popular chapter, and they're always angry all the time. So too bad we can't give it to you all the time. This one's by Travis Fisher. Do you think that the fallen Space Marines will rejoin the Imperium since Lord Cypher has decided to fight alongside Gilliman's side? It would be interesting if the next Primarch to be awoken would be the Lion. What do you guys think about this?
Will the Fallen, like the units, come back? I think the Fallen, what they're going to be is the sacrificial lamb. Like, they feel that the only road to redemption is their own sacrifice in the name of the Emperor. Do I think that Lion is going to come back? Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, he's not dead. He was just like weakened in that one fight, which we can't talk about, because what happens on Caliban stays on Caliban. So yeah, to let you guys know, I think that the Lion will probably be the next guy coming, in my opinion. And just because Cypher's fighting alongside Gilliman doesn't mean he's for the Emperor. Because remember, all these millennia, he's been switching sides constantly. Sometimes leading the Imperium, sometimes leading even demons into battle. So you never know with this guy.
And those were the questions for this week. Thank you guys so much for leaving them for us to answer. We're going to have a Patreon exclusive for the Greater Wall, so please subscribe, or please jump on over to Patreon if you want to get some more question and answer videos.
That's right.
And yeah.
Don't forget to keep on being awesome. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and hit that little notification bell for more awesome 40K content. As always, I am the Sound Alchemist.
First one.
No window today, but the elephant. Signing out.